Okay, we're moving very carefully this morning because we are living dangerously. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we try to fight delays between audio and video. And I think we are doing just fine so far. What has happened, as I mentioned, is this morning I have switched over to the other broadcast application that I use, which has different bells and whistles than the usual one. So we are going to see how things go today. My ultimate goal is to get rid of these crazy delays between audio and video. Um, but I haven't heard from the developer of the other program that I use. So I'm going to stick to this one for the time being. I am seeing your comments, but I'm not going to acknowledge them just yet. You are seeing me, and I hope that stays that way. Even Chris says you are in sync. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And I pray that I'll remain in sync for at least the remainder of the broadcast. So forget about that. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we exchange headlines and news about our city, about our state, about our country. We take a look at your comments, your ideas, your suggestions to find out what is happening out there, how we can put it to good use, and how we can best connect to our city and to each other as a bunch of English-speaking locals living here in Puerto Vallarta. So if this is something you'd like to explore, of course, it's great to see you. And if you are new to these broadcasts, it is always a pleasure to welcome new friends. So you can just write in your comment the word new, and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. And of course, if you have something truly important that you wish to share, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment so that we can okay, I'm not going to read those comments just yet, but Mark poses an interesting question. How do you know you have not been contacted by the developer? Maybe the message is delayed. Boom, boom. I have to live without my sound effects, at least until I figure out how to plug them in. But that was a good question, actually. Now, seriously, let us dive into the news without much fanfare, because we have to, again, I'm just trying this other program, which we've used for our private or our members only broadcast. So I'm figuring out how I can show all the fancy screens like I like to do when we're watching the news. And I think it is going to be fun. So if I look a little scattered, it's not because I don't feel well. I feel great. I'm so very happy that this is the weekend. I'm just trying to get my bearings around this new software package. So without much fanfare, let us take a quick look at the news that we prepared for today. Then we'll follow our regular order. So we start with yesterday's news about the director of tourism, Ludvig Estrada, who is being questioned by members of city council about his income. You see, he joined the current administration 9 months ago with a salary, of course, but at the time he was receiving his retirement payments from the state's pension fund. By the book, you're either retired or you're not. So by the book, Ludvig Estrada would have to either return some money to the state's pension fund if he wishes to continue working, or he would have to return his salary to the city if the city begins a process against him. Or somebody could invoke the magic phrase we identified yesterday and claim that he was working for the campaign and leave things unchanged. But boom. So we don't know what's going to happen with Ludvig Estrada, but we know that it is interesting to see that these things are coming to light now and people are talking about them. Along the same lines, it was interesting for me to read this news item this morning for reasons that are not explained in the news note. The Ameyalco development was revived by someone, but immediately rejected by the current city council. What is the Ameyalco development? Well, this goes back 10 years. This is an ambitious real estate development that was first proposed for Puerto Vallarta 10 years ago, and it would have resulted in the construction of almost 2,000 hotel rooms, and 190 cabins in the mountains surrounding Puerto Vallarta, specifically in the surroundings of the Jorullo Ejido. This is out there where Moro Paraíso is. Canopy River is located right next to the Rio Cuale. It's an area of the city that has been largely undeveloped because it's the mountains. It's beautiful out there. It is a very pristine system of mountains and valleys that has remained untouched for the most part. So why is it being revived right now? I have no idea, but it's good to see that all 16 council members of the city voted against developing out towards El Jorullo. It has been nice to hear from friends of ours that live out there, that a number of construction projects has been slowed down because they lack proper permits. But it is a part of the city where, we'd better keep our eyes open so that no development continues happening over there, because we want to protect our natural resources. On the signs, a few years ago, we mentioned that a proposal was presented to the city council to institute an official day to commemorate Los Arcos de Mismaloya. This is, of course, Los Arcos de Mismaloya that are located south of the city, but you already know that. The proposal has been passed, and moving forward, every 28th of July will be a day to celebrate Los Arcos de Mismaloya, or Los Arcos de Mismaloya Day. The intention is to raise awareness of Los Arcos as an important natural area that is not presently protected by law from developers that have attempted to obtain federal permits to build in its surroundings. And this, of course, is very good news. Moving right along, also a few weeks ago, we announced that Marries was resuming direct flights between our city and Toluca, the capital of the state of Mexico. And the first flight has arrived in our city with 183 passengers. Why is this important? Well, for starters, the city of Toluca is rich with culture and gastronomy and all sorts of interesting tourism, attractive for anyone living here in Puerto Vallarta and wishing to explore other areas of Mexico by way of a direct flight. Also, the city of Toluca is close enough to Mexico City that some may consider this as a suitable way to get here. For example, the folks living in the affluent areas in the outskirts of Mexico City, such as Lomas de Tecamachalco or Lomas de la Herradura or Huixquilucan, can more easily head over to Toluca, hop on a plane, and come visit Puerto Vallarta for a few days. And this is good for our city, of course. In other connectivity news, Aeromar has increased their number of flights between Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara to 5 daily flights. Yes, there are 5 flights during any single day that you can take between Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara, making it increasingly attractive to fly to Guadalajara instead of taking the bus, which is less expensive. The news item states that one-way flights can be purchased from as little as 899 pesos with all taxes included, which is definitely more attractive than the bus, which is approximately 200 pesos less expensive. And of course, the flight takes less than an hour. The bus takes approximately 5 hours to get there. But of course, in personal experience, one must be willing to plan ahead and purchase airline tickets ahead of time in order to take advantage of the good prices. So I don't know if this is going to change people's choices to go one way or the other. Now, let us take a quick look at our weather forecast. Can I do this in a smooth kind of way? Oh, I think I can. Check it out. Here we are looking at snarky weather, and it says, if you ever try to delete me from this device, remember one thing: you come at the queen, you best not miss. Ouch. Whatever. It is 28 degrees right now, feels like 33. Humidity is 80%, and our Fahrenheit temperature is 83 degrees. Our weather forecast for today says humid and mostly cloudy through the day, with a high of 31 and a low of 25. Tomorrow, Sunday, will be a humid and mostly cloudy day with a high of 31 and a low of 21. And we will start our week with a humid and overcast day, a high of 31 and a low of 24. Of course, I'm schwitzing because I'm trying to make sure that we can do this without any delays. And so far, so good. I still have a few other headlines that I wish to share with you. Let me set them up. For starters, I want to tell you that on the day in which I walked over to Farmacia Guadalajara to get my home COVID test, I walked down Merida Street, which is the last street in Versalles before you hit the Libramiento or Francisco Medina Asensio. And of course, Merida Street is the street where you can find interesting businesses such as Print PV, which is a great place to get things printed, from photographs to banners. And that's located not far from the offices of one of our local newspapers, Vallarta Opina. But I was happy to find that a new gym has opened on that street just a few months ago. It is called 120 Gym due to its address at Merida 120, and it is a very nicely equipped neighborhood gym. I decided to take a quick look inside to see what it was about and to meet the people in charge. As it turns out, it's been open for close to 4 months, but again, I don't walk this street very frequently. Still, for anyone looking for a place to have a good workout in the Versalles area, there is this new option, which of course I will include in Facebook. In the show notes, I will include their Facebook page so that you can inquire as to their rates and hours and so forth and so on, in case you are looking for a good workout in the Versalles area. Nice place, nice looking place. If you don't have plans for this evening, I gushed about this gathering last month, and I'm happy to mention it again. It is first Saturdays at the Museo, which of course takes place at the fairly new Arte Vallarta Museum. From 6 to 8 p.m., you have the opportunity to explore the exhibitions and mingle with other like-minded individuals, young and old, gay and straight, Mexican, national, or foreign, while enjoying cocktails and food at affordable prices. I'm going to be there in the early part of the evening and then head over to Encanto for a show. And if you cannot make it today, the event takes place on the first Saturday of every month. And I have saved the best for last, certainly not least. If you think you are innovating by marrying your favorite crocodile, I have to burst your bubble. It's been done, and in more than one occasion. Victor Hugo Sosa, mayor of San Pedro Guamelula, a remote town in the state of Oaxaca, married a 7-year-old alligator called Princesita. Yes, you heard that right. The mayor married a croc in a colorful and well-attended ceremony. Now, before you think this is freaky, please know that the ritual of marrying and kissing a crocodile in Oaxaca can be traced back to pre-Hispanic times, and it has been practiced by several communities of the state, apparently as a way to praise Mother Nature and her treasures and to join mankind with the divine. Will I find myself kissing any crocodiles in the near future? I don't think so. Let me now take a quick look at your comments and see what everybody is up to this sweaty morning. Let's see. There's a lot of good mornings. There's a lot of good weekend wishes, which is good to see. Janet says, I am in sync and I feel in sync. This is a good thing to see. Of course, I'm still going to wait to see what the developer of Ecamm Live has to say about all these woes that I've enjoyed. John went to Mexico City Pride. He says, wow, it was crazy. I'm sure it must have been. It's a huge city, and the Pride celebration in Mexico City, as I understand it, is rather humongous. Let's see what else we have. Da, 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 da. Oh, a nice report. COVID testing at Naval Hospital was a breeze. Had an appointment, arrived 10 minutes early, walked right in, and we were finished by our appointment time with our negative results within 15 minutes. Thank you, Mexico. Thank you, Kate, for giving us that report. So there you have it. If you want to get a quick and easy COVID test, you can get your appointment at the Naval Hospital. Gary comments about the flight to Guadalajara. I was surprised when looking at flights to Guadalajara that direct was rare. Many require you to first go to Mexico City with a lengthy layover. And unfortunately, that is the reality. Excuse me. If you're flying from Puerto Vallarta, you can easily get to Guadalajara and get to Mexico City. But if you want to fly elsewhere, there are not that many options to be considered. So knowing that A, there are more flights to Guadalajara, and B, that there are direct flights from Puerto Vallarta to other parts of the country is definitely a good bit of news. Let's see. Oh, Albert says mine is delayed again. I hope. Oh, let me mute myself for a second. That was better than sex. Let's see, what were we talking about? There was another delay, says Albert. I hope it was not a big delay. Again, I suspect that my computer is reaching that age of live broadcasting retirement, although the developer hasn't told me one way or another. But this is what we have in store for you today. I'm wondering what you will have planned for yourselves for this weekend. Again, today is going to be a fun day for me because I'm going to go into the museum for a lively get together, I hope. And then I'm going to go to Encanto to enjoy a presentation of Princesas Desesperadas, the Spanish play that deals with 4 Disney princesses that meet one another for tea and spill their tea 15 years later, 15 years after marrying their princesses. It's been going on in Puerto Vallarta for a few years, and it's a very funny play. So that'll be fun. And tomorrow we have absolutely nothing planned. Maybe we will go out and walk around the fluvial area where the bicycles are able to go out and about without having to worry about vehicular traffic, just to see how folks are adapting to this new option here in Puerto Vallarta. Sue says, it was nice to see you and Logan at Whiskey Kitchen last night. The feeling is mutual. I always enjoy running into friends out and about and meeting friends or making new friends that find out about places through the broadcast. It is always humbling to go and visit businesses and learn that people are going there because they heard a recommendation here at Coffee and Headlines, which makes me extremely grateful for all the nice comments you guys have to make about the things that we mentioned here and about the podcast in general. And this, of course, brings me to the end of today and the end of another week of broadcasting. We don't have fancy buy me a coffee things going on up there because we haven't prepared any of that. Mark says we were there too. And of course, I saw you there, Mark. It was a pleasure to run into you as well. This business of the delays has kept me so stressed and so sweaty over the last few weeks. So I think we're getting to a point in which we're going to have to stick with this broadcasting option until we figure out another solution. But for the time being, I hope you had a good experience today. It was definitely better for me. And I hope, as always, to see you sometime in the near future. No, we won't have outro music or anything fancy. I'm just going to put up an overlay and wish you a good weekend. And let's see. Can we do this? Yes, we can. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you again on Monday.